Appreciate y'all sticking with us here. We do apologize for the technical delays, but we will be right back into Drexel versus Illini and RMC. This is a matchup that hopefully will be leading into a very, very fun series. And, you know, we already got some of the gameplay ready to go. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Oh boy.
Okay, we are 7 minutes in, and there are 3 kills on the board. Where are they coming from? NECC with 2 kills and Lithuania with 1 already. This is bot lane right from the get-go. Action popping.
Oh my gosh. And I love it. Again, when you have a Yasuo bottom lane, that is what's supposed to happen, I feel like. It is always supposed to be that rough because it even broke our spectator. That's the best part. You play Yasuo bottom lane, this is what happens. Don't do it. It's rude. It's mean. It hurts
I blame Orbital. Orbital didn't cosmic radiance in time. You know, where's that turret call? You're talking about pressing R at the right time, Orbital?
Needs about 4 more levels in there, I think. all right, let's get right back into it. We'll take a look at how things are, and with the dragon being taken, it is a very quick one as well. But taking stock here of what's going on. This is Drexel very much enjoying this. Now getting a jump in the mid lane, or in the jungle as well. Go ahead, get that pop-up into the cache. The Udyr is gone 5/5. Might as well be gone.
That's an absolute slaughter. Red buff going over the way of Lithuania and NECC as well. If you thought this bot lane was rough before, it's not getting any better. And the kills, 3 of them going to NECC. We talked about the fact that, hey, Drexel, their comp is great if they press R together. But when you're this far ahead, even if it's not together, as long as NECC presses R, I think bodies are going to hit the floor.
It's such a scary thing to kind of look at as well. When you bring a Yasuo to the bottom lane, one of the things that I've always found that's difficult is just sustaining through and not letting kind of the early level 2, level 3 spike you out, and that's what seems to have happened. Now NECC is like, yo, let's have a little bit of fun. Now that you're level 6, you get an easy little catch. No stun to come down, and that means Shin gets a run right in.
They're waiting.
Along with Lithuania, they hit the stun, but the rest of the team is here, and now you get to dance your way to a victory. This is going to be Mythic NJ8 not being able to help that Senna, who was slaughtered inside of the alcove.
I guess what disgusts me the most about that play was how much damage NECC could afford to take. He dove in 1v2. It took a while for Shin and Lithuania to actually get into the mix, and he didn't care. Look at him tanking a turret shot. He don't care. He's got a Vamp Scepter. He's got a 1k gold lead. He's just pressuring in. And Refugo, Mythic NJ8, even at level 6, you're not allowed to push past river without your jungler, without your mid laner nearby.
Oh no. Mythic NJA is like, I know this is going to happen. I know this is going to be a big issue. I can't step up, and they actually engage down on that bottom side, so it's just another fight. And the hook actually misses. So for NECC, you are going to walk your way back into the safety of the tower where you have a pretty much full stack wave of casters. So that means the top side is actually going to get some love.
Yeah, but that's more minions being denied away from Refugo, from Mythic NJ. It's worth noting as well, Refugo is not running a support Senna. This is support Taric. This is actual straight up AD carry Senna. And I don't know how it feels when you're further behind. You know, if you're support, that's one thing. 5x5, actually able to snipe away the scuttle on that top side. A bit more protection for Amity, who's going to enjoy it with the CS advantage he has.
Oh, Shin running interference, make sure to get the stun down on themselves enough for the root, but that's an easy ulti. Combinations galore, electricity into wind. It's like the weather's against you here. Refugo is going to go down, and that's a double kill for NECC.
I think Mythic NJ just barely hit 6 before that play happened. It didn't matter. And once again, NECC is just tanking up an inordinate amount of damage early on. Once he gets that play of the Ruin King completed, this bot lane, it's literally unplayable. I respect why Refugo and Mythic NJ did what they did. That feels like the last chance they have before this bot lane is just completely out of control and you can't do anything else. But you tried it, it didn't work, and now you're just in a turret prison at this point.
5x5, of course, in their own right, trying to make some magic happen. Was able to grab 3 other grabs earlier on. Now looking for 4th. Of course, on the top side, we're seeing a little bit of fight as that's a showstopper, bringing Amity right into this grass. Sarnicle is going to get flashed out of on the Haymaker, so Amity is trying to bring the fight a little bit more. And just waiting for the rest of the team as that's a slam down to 5x5. Helps to clinch the singular kill that Illini currently have.
Can I be honest now?
Okay.
I can just hop out.
I was scared.
Okay. Well, Lithuania is still sticking around. It's calling up support now from Shin and Casimir, but the 4th grub has already been picked up. I think Illini, that's job done if they want to. There's no point Drexel sticking around. They wisely back out. And I was going to say, I was shocked that Lithuania was looking for that. The moment Sarnicle went down, you didn't have the numbers advantage anymore. And the big strength for Drexel right now is in their bot lane. And in Nori said from the very get-go, I am not leaving the spot lane. I am just going to 1v1 Refugo here. Y'all have fun at Void Grubs without me.
I mean, that's a Yasuo in general. I think you just don't want to leave lane. You win a lot more in a 1v1 than in a team fight scenario, even though the team fight can be very beneficial. And this is the easy way to do it. You go ahead, get a catch. I don't even think you needed Shin. Of course, Shin is going to miss. Maybe you did need that hook. But of course, Nori is like, yo, I'm okay. I'm not worried. Shin went for the play, didn't have it work, and Refugo gets to live, even though you did burn the flash.
A little bit unfortunate. And without that flash, yeah, living is going to be a lot harder for Refugo. Nori not actually going to back to base. I don't think he hit his item hours points that he needed to go back anyways, so he's fine to sit in lane, and there's a window of opportunity here for Illini. 5x5 is down bot right now. Vision was, I believe, actually cleared out by Mythic and JA before he left at lane, so I'd love to see some sort of gank being set up to shut down an Nori.
I mean, you can try a gank all you want, but sometimes it just feels inevitable. Of course, this time around, the sun goes straight to the wind wall, and this is how you get that kill. A quick pin against the wall as you still get the last breath off, and ORB is going to run. In comes Shin to try and help out. A good flash from 5x5 to ensure that the kill comes through, so you do get the shutdown. Maybe you get a little bit more. Shin it's going to get sniped thanks to the roots, and it brings about 2 deaths for Drexel as Illini find the kills and maybe the dragon.
We asked and Illini delivered. Beautiful gank from 5x5 to get those kills down there. And even better still, both went to Refugo. Refugo, that farming Senna that we're talking about, able to pick up the bounty. And second Drake of the game going to Illini as well. That goes a long way towards stabilizing the state of the game.
Oh, and not just that, we got a Hextech Dragon as well. If you're in for the fighting, that is one of the dragons that you're going to enjoy a lot, because whoever gets a soul ensures that you are going to stick to them all day long. And with some of the scrappers, like a Yone, like an Aatrox, like an Udyr, right? Like on the side of Illini, and then pretty much everyone on the side of Drexel, it's going to be so much fun if the soul goes over.
Well, we'll have to see if Illini are actually able to rotate right. Shin coming up in the top lane. Can he actually land the rocket grab this time?
I don't think you need to. Honestly, yep, there's going to be the World Ender, but the World Ender can't do that much. It's just another kill. Showstopper, just to the beauty of it. Lithuania picks up their 3rd.
I love that Amity was actually like literally in the bounce house. He's bouncing, and then all the knockups, all 3 members had something to lift his feet off the ground as well. Amity was flying high in the clouds and not in the greatest way. Mid lane, we finally get to see a bit of the trades coming through from Odyssey and Casimir. And again, keep in mind, Vladimir has been nerfed, so the W max is no longer optimal. He's gone for the regular sort of maximum transfusion on the Q, and it's great for sustain, but these short trades are not working out in his favor.
Because the short trade is a little bit different than a long one for Odyssey, and what's expected is the bottom side kill. Illini made that look so easy that we couldn't even show it, and they get first tower as well.
Yeah, and I love that they've kind of flipped the script onto an Nori, where he was one pressuring 1v2 earlier. They're saying, okay, you can beat 1v2, but can you handle a 1v3? No, then you shouldn't be here. But an Nori not respecting that. And you can see the gold caught up. Was a 1k gold deficit for Refugo earlier. He's only 300 down right now. Amity.
Multi-CC plus the hook. Yep, into the knock. Bring in the last one. And Nori went down, TP'd in just to grab that kill, by the way. That was Drexel, like, gifting a kill back to the poor Yasuo. I can't believe I said that sentence. Poor Yasuo that was in the bot side that died twice.
And you know what? Props to Drexel. They recognize, hey, our win con is an Nori, always has been, always will be. Let's get him as fed as possible.
Do it again.
He gets
do it again. Oh, do it again. And Nori does have flash to get out this time. But man, when I saw that root come down, Refugo was like, that's all mine.
That was a beautiful route to be able to land on an Nori to set up the chain of events. Now, Cosmic Radiance was used by Mythic and JA. Have to keep an eye on that because Nori still, well, his last breath is on such a short cooldown that without that ultimate from Taric, there's always an opportunity for Drexel to try and flip a big team fight.
And with this moment, we finally get to breathe a little bit. As much as I'm saying that, it feels like they're posturing for a fight. But with no real objectives on the ground, it does feel like this is just a what kills can we find? Can we grab any last bit of gold? We can see Amity now rotated into the bottom side. Odyssey now shifted towards the top side after losing their life once, has now been given a lot of time against Sarnical, who is now stuck under their tower.
Yeah, and it's worth noting as well, Illini, hold up, and Ori.
Alright, I thought they weren't going to fight, but yes, they are apparently. That's going to be a very nice ultimate by Shin to go ahead and deny any further, but the rest of the team coming in means Shin has to flash away under the tower as well. and we're seeing some of the stickiness that Illini have brought to the table that have been able to keep a Nori down. Very slightly.
It's working, I think, very well in the recent times, right? Like, Inorbi has not even been able to farm. He's being shoved out. Turrets are going down to Illini as well. I was going to highlight the fact that they actually got first brick in the bot lane in that very, very tough lane for Refugo and Mythic and JA early. But now they're starting to snowball that mid turret going down, and now only top left standing. And if you look at who's defending top, Sarnical is not in a great position in the first place.
Neither is a good chunk of Drexel, but they're going to try to turn it around because guess what? Nordy still has a crap ton of kills. TP's coming in to try and break the base open because of Amity says, yo, the base is out here. That's going to be a flash. It is Casimir gets a kill on Mythic NJA, and the rest of the line I go, crap, we couldn't test against a 1-for-2 price is paid for Drexel.
I know as the one who highlighted the lack of Cosmic Radiance and Mythic earlier, I didn't expect it to be this fight that made it happen. I mean, Dragon isn't even up yet and won't be up in the near future. So that was just fights for kill's sake, punishing Illini for stepping up. And I like the decision from Drexel. They're still finding ways to be proactive. They don't want the game to slip away from them.
Man, these fights are getting wonky. I don't know. It feels weird to me to see these fights go down. It's just like we saw the collapse in on the mini-map on that mid lane, and we were like, oh, okay, this is going to be interesting. I mean, maybe you can kill Nori, and Nori gets away, gets a kill, then goes down. And these little fights, these little chunks of damage coming through on both sides leads me to believe that this Dragon fight is going to be more of the same. We got 5 seconds there, but Casimir is coming in with a pretty hefty chunk of a buy. That's 1.5 items completed. We'll have a decent rotation of spells if they so wish. Another stun down in the mid lane. Nori B is gone in the blink of an eye, and Illini is showing they know how to deal with this Yasuo because now the rest of the team of Drexel are going to be slaughtered. The Dragon Slayers are here to play us. That's another stun with no pool. This Tarek is on point.
Yo, are we sure Mythic is a Zillion player? He's looking like a beautiful Tarek player. Absolutely fabulous right now. His stuns are on point. And although here's the thing too, Drexel had no business being there. They blew a lot of their ultimates on that mid lane fight. That was why I questioned it. For that fight, they didn't have Sejuani ultimate. Last breath, I wasn't sure it was up, and Hemoplague I don't think was available either at the start of that fight. So even if you get to the Dragon, what do you expect to do there? You're just standing around and waiting for Illini to engage onto you, and Illini made it work. They found a beautiful engage. Mythic gets caught. No time for a Cosmic Radiance, but that's okay. They got dragged. They want to fight prior to that. Illini are still in the leading position.
That's such a small price to pay, quite honestly. You lose your support with how much you have won, and now Amity has free reign to take topside tower. Everything is leaning Illini's way. Granted, we don't take a look at the first 6 minutes of the game. Like, Myth is like, yo, don't look at that. Don't worry about that. Nothing happened there. And Nori B, even though you got the kills, it's fine. We can still find the kills. I am still worried, though, that those kills did come through. And Nori B is still 2 items in. As long as he doesn't step out of position, it's still a very strong Yasuo.
And to be fair, at the beginning of the game, if we look at how it started, we dropped into the game at 7 minutes and they were 3-0 up on Drexel. Drexel was 7-0 at one point. Shin from behind.
Oh my god. I thought after that whiff on the ultimate, it was going to be the difference. However, this is a dangerous spot to be in. Amity's like, yo, you don't get to fight this for free. I'll take one at least and wait for another because 5x5 is here. Remember, there's no tower to run to either. Sarnical flashes, but it's 5x5. You drop Herald for what? To try and get out, and you are going to be safe, but it's a waste of a Herald. Rest of the team coming around in the jungle, though. Take a look at where the Tark is. Take a look at where Refugo is. It's a walk in the park for Illini as this Herald gets their top lane to the safety. But yeah, you're gone from this tower. That's going to be another stun as 4 members are here. Illini are like, yo, we ran all the way tower. And now Inori is going to get chunked out. Cosmic Radiance will keep everyone alive, but the Flash keeps Inori B alive instead. Another Haymaker is going to do mess all. And that's a death for Drexel Dragons once again.
Oh my goodness. Put some respect on that name in the top lane. Who am I? Amity, the world ender. That Aatrox was nasty with it. 1v3 situation gets turned around and they aren't done yet. They keep going.
And they try and keep fighting, but Norby gets stunned again. Are you kidding me? In death, Mickey NJA makes sure it happens. Casimir is now going to try and clean up and is able to, so this is just an overstay. But guess what? Odyssey is here to play. Odyssey has been so quiet. 1 assist is all they have, but they have been farmed up to a very nice degree, so they're able to challenge at least. But Illini, they lost 3, but they got so much more, and the gold is still in their favor.
I'm going to be honest, sure, they lost 3, but at the end of the day, after all the fight in Sin and Den Orbital, I think it was a even trade actually in terms of kills. And as you pointed out, Illini secured themselves the tier 2 top lane turret, which is still more gold going into that team. And we got to see the mid laners finally getting to the fight. Casimir doing work on this Vladimir, but Odyssey, this game he's been very quiet, 0-1-1. But when he showed up, you can start seeing the damage he's putting out. It's not as flashy as the Yasuo that NORB is on, but as this game goes on, Odyssey already with the Blade of the Ring King completed, if he's at those fights, I think these dives are a lot easier for Illini. They can start pressuring you under turret. It's not a traditional siege. It's kind of just brute force. We will fight you wherever, whenever.
Oh, yeah, just like that. They're in the mid lane fighting, but the thing is, they're so late. It's Refugo and Mythic NGA to get that kill, and now they get a collapse on Sardicle. 5x5 is going to take the heat of the Haymaker, but Amity is like, yo, let's run interference. Illini are picking Drexel Dragons apart piece by bloody freaking piece. Dragon Steak is on the menu as down goes Casimir. Lithuania trying to keep the perfect record alive, but it's not going to happen. A double stun just for kicks and giggles. That is going to be the ace at 22.5 minutes for Illini Esports Orange.
We went from 0-7 to 17-15, 15 seconds for Sarnico to come back up. I don't know if this is enough for Illini to end the game. They are committing a lot of resources up here, but if they find an Ori, they could do it.
Oh no, he has nothing. He's got nothing. He's gone. He's dead. It's gone. And that is going to be a secondary ace, might as well say it for saying sake, as the Nexus towers are down. Thought it was going to try, but that is going to be a little bit of your fate sealed. Game 1 will be in the books. 5x5 taking another life. Yes, down goes Odyssey, but the Nexus is exposed. Illini going ahead and padding the stats here. We were not expecting this by a mile, but Illini were, as game 1 will go to their pockets.
Wow. Oh my goodness, Orbital. What an absolute insane game 1. It was a bloodbath, and not even because of the Vladimir. Both teams came out absolutely swinging, and what I respect the most is these are newer teams. These rosters are not more experienced rosters who have a lot of time together. No, they're new, but right from the get-go, they were ready to scrap. They were ready to go at it. Now, I will say, I think the rawness showed a little bit for Drexel. We saw a couple of late TPs come through. The team fights didn't quite click. And yes, NORB is very, very good, but he cannot solo carry this team. And you saw, he just kept pressuring out, getting punished for pushing out without sufficient protection. Illini, on the other hand, their teamwork was very, very impressive to me. Watching Mythic NJA just run around and put out fires left and right wasn't about the Cosmic Radiance that we were thinking of. It was all about that Dazzle and those stuns. How many times did they catch out an Orbi? How many times did they stop combos from coming through, find critical targets? That is nutty. I think Drexel's going to be very happy and, in a way, lucky that this is full fearless and they don't have to look at the Taric again.
I will also say it looked very experienced as well. Illini had played with that Taric before. It's not just like Mythic, but to land multi double stuns with that, it can be difficult if you're not very aware of what's going on. So huge props to Illini. But I like what you called earlier. I want to point that out. You said all the way at the beginning, hey, that is an 5-0 Yasuo. We need to get some ganks down there. 5x5, I swear, heard you RMC and was like, okay, listen, Caster called it. Let's go ahead and run it. Taking a look at game 2, do you think Illini are going to get this cohesive of a composition, or at least be this cohesive with the next draft?
What I will say is I do think they recognize that an Orbi can be a big threat. And that bot lane, Senataric, felt like a very specific answer for an Orbi. And now with Yasuo Yone off the table, I can't help but feel that this is a game plan that Illini have crafted. So I do think they've got more up their sleeve, and I need to see Drexel be able to bounce back, punch back. In Oribi, I mean, I feel like playing with the Yasuo Yone, that's having a little bit of fun. Now it's time to go back to the bread and butter that, I mean, brought him to the fame that he did in North American Tier 3 in NACL OQs.
All right, well, there you go. I mean, Drexel Dragons, their wings were clipped for game 1, but they are legends for a reason. Let's see if the Dragons can live up to it. We are going to go to a very, very short break, and the NECC will be back with game number 2 of the Week 2 matchup between Drexel Dragons and Illini Esports Orange. Don't go anywhere. A resounding game 2 that we had to take multiple breaths in between game 1 and the start of game 2 here. RMC, the only thing I have learned in NoriB, 5 kills doesn't matter to Illini Esports Orange. They're always fighting.
Well, that's the problem, right? It's a 0-10 power spike for Yasuo, not a 5-0 power spike. It doesn't work that way over. Doesn't matter how many kills you pick up early. Nah, to be fair, I think Illini did a wonderful job in game 1, being able to contain that threat. And you kind of talked about it in the pregame, the fact that at this level, even at Div 2, you can't have a mono threat composition come through. If NoriB is the only threat you've got, Illini knows how to shut you down. And going into game 2, for me, Drexel, I feel like Casimir Sarnical got to step up a little bit. Sarnical really struggled last game in lane. The set into Aatrox, and set was sort of the counter pick. It was R5 for Sarnical. Did not work out whatsoever. And Casimir, you know what, Vladimir's nerfs, maybe he hit Casimir a little bit harder than we thought it would. And he just didn't quite get to that late game Vladimir one of the game.
Not just that, it was that moment of, hey, maybe we rested on our laurels a bit too much. You see the 5-0 Yasuo, you're like, hey, we can take things a little bit slow, which honestly in solo queue, that would be my call. Hey, if I see my Yasuo 5-0 in there, I'm like, just don't die. That's my whole game plan. This is not solo queue, though. That's what we have learned. With all those champions now wiped away, all 10 of those champions no longer available, though, we get a fresh draft. Yeah. And what has not changed is Drexler is still saying we like the red side. We love having those counter picks. That's what we want to play with. And I wonder if they're going to give a little bit more leniency to NoriB. Don't draft the Yasuo so early on.
Well, for one, they can't draft the Yasuo anymore, right? Full Fearless. So Yasuo, Yone off the board. I think it's notable that Udyr is off the board as well, because for Illini, that was a flex between Amity and 5x5. And this time, you won't have that Udyr. And there's no other champion that really does quite the same thing as Udyr. So very curious to see how Drexel kind of flexes into this game too. What marksman in NoriB will actually pick up, or does NoriB have another non-marksman option? Because both Yasuo and Yone are currently off the table.
You know what?
And so was Straven.
Going. Yeah, I was about to say. I was like, listen, we still don't want to deal with that. There's a respect on the other side. This is expected. Quite literally, we're only playing with 2 drafts on either side. Just keep that in mind. Only two bans, I should say. So, what's next, though? That's the big question. I think last time we had a little bit of a dip into that top lane plus the jungle for Drexel's side. They were saying, hey, we don't want to let that J4 go through. If that's still banned away, it would make sense considering how aggro Illini were in that game 1.
And I actually don't expect the first phase bans to change very much. That's something we've noticed in Full Fearless a lot of times, is that game 1, game 2, the bans are going to be the same, because the things that kind of broke you in game 1 aren't available anyway, so we don't have to change up those bans too much a lot of times. And especially since it does look like Drexel has opted to stay on the red side, the same size as game 1, I don't expect to see any changes. So far from Illini, all the same. Draven, Ornn, Kassadin. And then from Drexel, it was Zillion, J4, and Syndra last game. So I expect to see Syndra banned again. And if anything, okay, so Casimir, we talked about his Kassadin, his Vladimir. His third mid laner that he plays a lot is Kayle. So I'm actually curious if Illini just give away that Kayle. I don't know if they can pick it themselves necessarily, or whether they've got some sort of answer ready to deal with yet another skill coming through from Casimir.
And you can almost see it there. It's like, hey, let's go ahead and get that combination in. We mentioned before that this is something that I think 5x5 likes to use, is that Skarner likes to get into the face of the opponent, likes to get a little bit messy in there. But I like the fact that you did point out that, hey, if you are going to get into the tussle, you got to mix things up. That is going to be a Zeri locked in here. I mentioned that we would like to see a NoriB given a little bit more, a little bit more breadth to work with, but I wonder if this is just, we want to ensure that we get this priority picks in, because there's the Amumu that Lithuania has touted before in solo queue. It feels like this is just get what we're comfortable with this time around.
Yeah, I mean, he played it last week as well. So I think the Amumu fits what Drexel wants from Lithuania, which is just easy engage for the team. The Zeri, though, I really like it a lot for an NoriB. I think it's a good scaling champion, a very mechanical champion, and most importantly, one with a lot of self-agency. Not as easy to gank as the Yasuo. If he wants to kind of split push on his own, wants to sit in the lane, he'll be a lot harder to punish. Illini, though, they're responding incredibly well already. You've got the Zeri who wants to run away. We will get things to chase it down. Kaisa, a long ago discovered answer into mobile AD carries that want to run away. If you want to run away, I'll just hunt you down with Killer Instinct. And with the Galio to follow up as well, that's very, very nice. Anytime Refugo gets in there, he's always going to have backup.
Now here's the big shakeup. Top side, we are seeing Sarnical be able to pick up that Renekton, something that was banned away, I think, in game number 1. And this time around, gifted a little bit of an earlier game. The question is, what's going to be brought out against it? That, to me, is a big piece of the puzzle. And now the Camille makes a little bit more sense, at least in the early phase of the ban phase here. Don't want to let Amity have that freedom to be able to chunk you out mid to late.
Yeah, and we're seeing the Camille banned out once again, coming through from Drexel. They missed their 5th ban last time, so I don't know what they're actually going to go with. In this particular case, I think into the Renekton, maybe you remove something like the Cassante, which, we often see kind of handshaked, and is another champion who can die very, very well with the Kai'Sa. With all the changes, I'm actually not sure how strong Cassante is on current patch. I've heard people say it's good. I've heard people say it's bad. I actually don't have a good feel on it. Lulu being banned by Illini, and oh yeah, there we go. There's the Cassante ban. And like I said before, I think you just banned the kill at this point from Illini, right?
Oh, or not. And here's the thing, I don't disagree with it. Saying, hey, last time you let the Vladimir go through and they weren't able to get off the ground. That's what we can play with. Is that the right answer this time? I'm not sure. But if you're playing off the assumption that Casimir isn't going to have a great time, it does make sense. With the Lulu band away, though, this is going to unlock Shin saying, hey, let's go ahead and go for engage instead of defensive. Let's go ahead and get the Alistar in there, follow up behind the Amumu as well. And for Illini, now you're going to play the runaway game, which would be quite surprising. With the Lily locked in, is that a Skarner top lane? A shift in what Illini want to do? Another flex pick that we maybe weren't expecting in there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting because I didn't even think of Lilia as an option for 5x5 necessarily. But yeah, I do think that's probably Lilia jungle Skarner top. Amity does play Skarner top, and that actually makes the Illini roster kind of a lot more difficult to draft against. There's so much shared champion pool between Amity and 5x5 that a lot of these champions can be flexed back and forth. Now, Braum being picked up to deal with some of the engage that Drexel wants to have with this Alistar, with this Amumu that you're talking about. And there you go. There's the kill. There's the comfort for Casimir. And you know what, overall, I hear what you're saying with Illini, saying that, okay, skilling, we're not worried about it. We'll shut it down early. I hope they don't regret it because, again, comfort pick coming through from Casimir.
I 100% stand behind that. And we have, honestly, we got to sit down and talk a little bit more about this composition now because the top lane has now been locked in. And that was one of the big points that you talked about. We talked about Nora B bottom lane. Yes, that happens. We're done with the Yasuo situation. Top side can still happen. Sarnical and Amity, we need to see something from Sarnical. Is this a lane matchup that you were expecting? Were you picking the Renekton, expecting the Skarner, or is this going to be a blindside for him?
I think the Renekton pick was what I expected. In fact, in Game 1 draft, we were talking about the fact that Renekton is, a great blind in Game 1 if you want to go for it. So the pick for Sarnical was good, expected. The Skarner, not so much, but I can see the value it can have. It can lane very, very well into Renekton, and later on in the game as well, especially with something like a Kayle. Kale's biggest weakness is kind of CC. Like, even if you're invulnerable, if you can't move, if you can't do damage, you don't matter. And your range isn't that long, even when you're fully exalted, you can still be punished. So I like the Skarner pick up here. I really like the flex as well to kind of give you that skill.
All right, well, let's see if our predictions come true because we are in the game, not 7 minutes in this time. We get the full 0-0 timeline. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how it breaks down because my gosh, if this goes how I assume it's going to be, Illini are going to let the first 7 minutes go by, be perfectly fine, and then pop off. And then Drexel Dragons are like, yo, we're going to get some kills early. Oh, crap. What happened? 23.5 minutes later, we lose the game.
Fair enough. I mean, you look at the champions Illini have drafted, and you wouldn't necessarily expect, like, right level 1 aggression. I say that as they're actually just walking in here.
No.
Oh, in order
No. I mean, oh my god, extra pop as well.
Wait,
no, do you dive this? Oh my god!
Why are we not diving this?
They didn't expect the last Q to hit. They 100% didn't expect the last Q to hit, and they know the rest of the team are now collapsing. Take a look at this. Drexel Dragons are Oh, you weren't ready for it. And that's actually because, take a look, the rest of the fight's actually happening. I think Refugo opted to go with the rest of the team here and is running Lithuanian Shin out of the jungle.
Oh my god, that was so much potential for violence there.
There really was. There was violence. There was violence. Inori B was down to like 5.
Fair, but the Rivers could have run red. I mean, not only could Inori have died there, but because Refugo was hunting Inori, was thinking about it, but didn't do the flash into barrier or whatever it takes to find that last kill, that Lithuania and Shin actually get out alive against a Braum that early. What can an Alistar and an Amumu do by themselves? They need a damage source, and your Zeri already got pushed out. You've got a Kayle who can't scale, or who scales, pardon me, and can't fight early on. Everything was lined up for a lineup. Now, they don't get kills, but 5x5 is going to get in there, is going to potentially 3-buff Lithuania. If he just runs back to cover his blue buff, Lithuania can't invade.
And that's the big part about it. Remember, 5x5 was a a very pivotal role of why Illini were able to take off in that game number 1. The ganks with the Udyr were slaughtering just about everyone on the map. And it was such a big piece as to why Illini were able to catch Noribi and everything of the sort. Lithuania, though, risking this opportunity. This is a very scary one, by the way. Lithuania making a gamble, though, and saying, yo, I can do this. I can go ahead and invade with no lanes in your favor, by the way.
It's actually not. Because they had a ward which just expired on Raptor Pit. They saw 5x5 not cross back over to cover his own blue. And so Lithuania, that was a great ward, and it's giving Lithuania the space he needs to go back in, make sure he doesn't get 3-buffed. He will still fall behind in camps, but it's not the end of the world for the Amumu. You're still getting the critical XP bits, you know, if you can still secure a scuttle, you won't fall that far behind.
See, the thing is even if I knew where the enemy jungle was, my game would be like the top laner and mid laner still collapse on me. So I'm scared no matter what. Like, I'd just be terrified. Taking a look, though, in the mid lane, Casimir still doing okay. And remember, in the early stages, we saw Drexel Dragons, I believe, take an extended lead in the early stages of game 1. But this time around, it is still quiet. And for Casimir, you're going to enjoy that. You go ahead and recall, get an early boots and daggers, get that attack speed rolling, and then you're going to have the extended range once level 6 hits.
And interestingly enough, Odyssey actually not pressuring as heavily as I would have expected as a Galio into a kill matchup. For Galio, the kill matchup is great because you're playing into a melee champion those first 6 levels as well, which is where Galio can excel, can look to trade. Casimir being even, or actually even up in CS because he based and is still even, is massive for this kill. Now, we have to keep an eye on that, but I'm going to be honest, any advantage that Casimir gets mid probably won't really matter until we're like 20 minutes into the game.
You know what matters, though, is his top lane. Amity, very nice sidestep, ensuring that you are okay. And now, almost a tower shot. By the way, I think if Lithuania took a tower shot there, that would have been the end. However, the end still might be here. 5x5 is roaming up here, has red buff, but opted to aim towards the minions. So no follow-up behind it and want to force any awkward fight.
Yeah, no hard CC, no Impale, no Lilting Lullaby available at that point. Refugo incredibly low on health, but that's a trade he'll take. Barrier and Heal Burnt for the Illini bot lane, but they get the flash out of Inoribi and the Ignite out of Shin on the other side, and they didn't force the back. Inoribi is actually going to stick around and try and pick up this wave.
I mean, I think you can. Refugo took a lot of damage there, but still, the fact that this Kaisa and Braum are doing so much work, and even being allowed to buy into a Cole scenario, I think shows how confident Illini are currently in this bottom lane, saying, yo, we are going to take this fight. We are going to be at the forefront, and I wonder how long they can do that for, as Dragon is currently up.
And part of me wonders if how much of that is just confidence in their 2v2, because Refugo and Mythic NJA last game did manage to bounce back incredibly resiliently after a hard-fought early game. Or how much of that is just 5x5 having the edge over Lithuania from those early invades, from the faster clears, and saying that we think our jungler will be here first. Amity?
Amity.
Doesn't make the wall.
Amity. Nope. I mean, I don't even know because flashes were up, but Amity takes an unfortunate trade scenario.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, I don't think the flash would have saved Amity, since, as you pointed out, both flashes were up. If Amity got the stun, maybe there's an angle you can make, but yeah, huge from Sarnicle to be able to find that. Compare that to last game's performance, where Sarnicle was struggling in lane. Any advantage you get as that Renekton, that helps. Hey, maybe that helps you secure the early Void Grubs. That would help Lithuania catch out.
100%, and you can see already rotating over, not just that, even rotating Casimir, who has that level 6, that ultimate
this one I'm
to
not
keep
sure
someone alive can be so big. Only level 5 by 5x5, and that's gonna be the danger. However, in comes that Green Insurance Odyssey saying, yo, let's go ahead and fight. Lithuania does get the ultimate, is gonna stay safe for a little bit. Amity is joining in, but look who rotated first! It's Illini here to close them off, and Casimir cannot run. Lithuania flashes over the wall, flashed by Mythic NJA though, saying, yo, Amumu, I got a friend for you. It's a Q to your death as Illini run the show and take 2.
That just doesn't look like something we should be showing on stream. You know, a big buff man just beating down on a little undead child. Mummy thing. Yeah, that was kind of brutal to watch. But Illini, they are rotating better and playing better as a team. And that was one thing we talked about, Orbital. The fact that Illini, this roster is newer for them. But they're already playing really well together. You've seen the teamwork come through, whereas Drexel look a little bit more disjointed. And that goal, I cannot say that moving a Kayle out when a Galio can follow feels like a good call early on. You saw that Casimir just did not have much of an impact. The Divine Intervention came through. It saved Lithuania a couple of seconds, but that wasn't enough to do anything in terms of actual teamfight impact.
It wasn't a divine intervention,
Oh,
it was
not
a
again.
divine stay. It was only just waiting as now we get a rolling seed from across the wall as Odyssey was in the bot side.
my
Shin gets
goodness.
a triple knockup,
Okay.
but honestly has to run away. Rest of the team, no one is there. Illini don't have the buddies, but Refugo is able to get that kill. But they do turn it around. Odyssey gets some help from Mythic NGA, and they get a secondary.
Okay.
Casimir is able to pick up one, but you lost 3 in that engagement. Illini, the macro cooperation from the squad, overcoming just about any obstacle.
3 and an early Ocean Drake orbital. That is a massive loss on the side of Drexel. Unfortunately for them, things are not working in their favor, and I'm looking at how the kills are kind of being sent as well, right? The fact that Refugo is picking up some of the kills is kind of big for Illini. Unfortunately, of course, one did go over the Mythic from that top side, and the early kills on Odyssey actually are pretty important. We've seen Odyssey be the big swinger in terms of how much impact the mid laners are having. Casimir's just not able to match up.
I mean, you take a look at Casimir, you take a look at the champion, and we mentioned the scaling options. Scaling is scaling for a reason. You don't have that priority early mid game. You're waiting towards that late game, and everyone knows it. And this is why I leaned into that fact of Inori V, or not Inori V, Illini saying, hey, maybe we can overcome that hump. It does put him on a little bit of a timer, though. You got the early kills, that's great. What more can you do, right? We want to see the fast-paced action of Illini from game number 1. If we do want to see, because everyone knows that Kayle is way more of a menace than just about any of the other ones in there, I feel like. Like, you are a wrecking ball once you hit that level 16 in good standing.
And once you're actually fully exalted, you've got all that AoE damage just splashing around. Yes, level 7 Casimir right now is a long ways away in orbital. If we want to see how successful Illini can be at snowballing this early game, I'm looking at objectives. When that second set of Void Grubs spawn, how quickly can Illini take it? Can Drexel contest? That second Drake that comes through. Now, Drexel can give those
Oh my
up
god.
and still play back, but not if you're losing members like
god.
this.
It's just a stall. It's a divine stall is what that looks like. You what? Delay your death by 2.5 seconds? Feels bad, man. Thumbs up as you sink into the quicksand, everyone.
I love that. Nobody's fist bumping Casimir after that. Like, bro, why were you there? Just like, and it was like, yeah, okay, thumbs up, guys. Like, yeah, okay. But generally, I don't know why Casimir was in that position in the first place. Like, there was no need for him to rotate out. And we talked about how hard crowd control is sort of the bane of Kayle's existence, and you're seeing that divine intervention, as you called it, the divine stall. Doesn't mean anything when you're CC'd up for the entire duration anyways, and then you come back out of it, everybody's just sitting around you, you've got no backup, you've got no help. Amity doesn't make it through!
Oh. This is a straight up turnaround from game 1. Sarnicle is having a fantastic game so far.
Now, is Sarnicle the savior that Drexel needs right now? They've got scaling mid, they've got scaling bot. You did pick the Renekton to be a bridge, and Sarnicle right now is doing work up top. That's the second time he's managed to interrupt Amity from being able to get away. But can he actually snowball that to buy the space for Casimir and Inori B is my big question right now.
Yeah, that's the other side of it is you're doing okay, but at this point, you're not just a bridge, you're the bridge. You are the only piece of the puzzle. Casimir running straight into 5x5, who drops that Lilting Lullaby and is going to bring a little bit of damage. No one else is really there to follow up, so the slows are really all it's going to be, but there's no flash. Remember, Casimir has no damage, and 5x5 just runs down the Angel, who falls to the ground.
Okay, look, I know 5x5 actually just waited out the Lilting Lullaby for cooldowns for maximal effect, but part of it just looked so BM.
True.
Just the way he was like waiting on that finishes them off. And yeah, that's 5x5's first kill as well. That's worth noting because we talk about scaling for Drexel Dragons, but Illini's big scaler is going to be 5x5, and to a certain extent Refugo as well. Kaisa scales incredibly well. So if 5x5 is getting these early kills, oh my goodness, and even just look at the gold advantage he has in the jungle, 1k gold advantage. If 5x5 keeps getting this gold, keeps snowballing, he could be the great accelerator. He could take over the game.
I think he already is. I'm not going to lie. I already think 5x5 is at the point where you are dictating a lot of what's going down here. Amity and Odyssey, they're also not playing for lane. And this is why I'm leaning into that fact as well of Amity not really worried about the early deaths from Sarnicle. Your job has been to roam out to help out 5x5 and so, and you know that you have the ability to lock down the likes of Sarnicle to kind of keep him at bay when it comes to the team fights. I honestly think Amity is like, I'm chill. If I die once or twice, it's not the worst thing in the world, as long as I'm following behind 5x5, who at 105 is able to get a free kill, is 6 camps ahead of Lithuania, by the way. We haven't even touched on that fact. 5x5 rules the Rift, at least for the next couple minutes.
Yeah, and we saw when they were talking gold that in mid and bot as well, there's significant gold advantages all for Illini. So for Drexel right now, it really is the Sarnical show. And Sarnical is doing great in lane. But like we said, the big question is, can you snowball that out of lane? The Void Grubs have already gone down, by the way. The second set that we were kind of looking at, Illini picked up all 3, and it wasn't even close. Like, Sarnical didn't even look out of lane. So the next objective is Dragon in 15 seconds. Sarnical has TP. If he's not moving out of top, though, then that should just be Illini's free. I just don't see Drexel being able to contest this.
I mean, I don't think you have that chance. Lithuania is still just trying to roam around, get a little bit extra. I mean, you have no boots, even, by the way. I want to point this out. 5x5 has a completed Leandries plus Merc Treads, meaning Lithuania is going to do, like, mess all in this situation. It's... I hate saying that because the Curse of Sad Mummy is so strong. However, this is going to be another catch. That's a headbutt to try and keep Figo away. I wasn't even sure this fight was going to happen, but it is. Mythic NJA is going to be caught under the tower, has to get that heal out. But Inori and Shin lose 2 primary ultimates plus the cleanse, which means this dragon is all Illini Esports Orange.
Yeah, and I love that Adam, our producer observer, was just watching Lithuania wander around in an empty jungle. That is so lore accurate for a Mumu right now. Bro just wants to make friends, and there is nothing nearby. He looks lost as dragon was spawning. Drexel have already said, we are surrendering this second dragon. If anything, we're going to look at Herald, and we're going to straight cross map at this point. Technically, they should be able to take it. Sarnical is strong. That is the strong side of the map for Drexel. But look at the way Odyssey was roaming around. I am actually not even sure if Lithuania can secure Herald.
I mean, you're doing that gamble that we saw before a little bit in like game 1. You're just trying to send it, and it looks like you're gonna get it because bot side is actually the big piece of the puzzle. Casimir is here to help out though, but take a look at this. Lilting Lullaby once again to slow things down, and Mythic NGA lives. Are you kidding me? The burn is not gonna be enough as Casimir is gonna flash to the wall, but it's a denial tool because now it's TP's in, flash out of the tower, and Nori B is gonna die. 5x5 rules and a TP in to the jungle. See Sarnical leave just as quickly as they arrived.
But Orbital, Lithuania is going to make a friend. He's finally going to get an objective.
He's got a buddy. But his whole team's dead. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. The team wasn't helping Lithuania anyways. At least Herald might do more.
Oh, that's rude, but so true. Christmas out, Mummy trying to slow him down. Sarnical, remember, quite strong here. In goes the Impale, plus the slam down, though, and a headbutt up into a pin against the wall. CC for days as Lionite chopped down and turns Sarnical into a handbag.
Oh, man, Justin was saying nobody's helping out Lithuania. Lithuania abandoned Sarnical. He lives, but Sarnical goes down. The big carry from Drexel gets shut down early, and Illini... They are snowballing, and it just keeps growing. 7K? 6K gold advantage right now. After all is said and done with these advantages, they keep on accruing. Now, Herald is in the pocket of Drexel, but I don't know how you can use it. It doesn't feel like you've got a good lane to play into anymore.
To be fair, the last time they got Herald, it was used for an escape as well. Like, they have not had a great track record of using the Herald to its actual effect. It has been... It was a great getaway car, though. Come on, like, it was. But it's not its intended use.
Sure. Well, maybe they can jump down bot. I mean, Shin is trying to set up to stop Odyssey.
Maybe you can. Right now, it looks like the tower is going to be taken either way. Odyssey is going to get over the wall, though, and at least clear out this wave. Tower is still going to fall, so Odyssey is going to be in a weird position. Mythic NJA is around, but mid lane is actually where another tower might go down in favor of Refugo, and Casimir might get chased out. Good dodge there on a little bit of the sea, because Refugo can't follow up. Still, though, trade of towers means that everything is kind of net neutral at the moment. Sarnical, though, hoping to take a second.
And I really like that.
Oh, I can see the pings. Oh, God.
Yeah, they're going to collapse on this. Sarnical has flash, though.
No Herald, though. That's the problem. No Herald this time. Tower is available. You're just going to run as fast as you can, and you're good. You are safe. You did have Merc Treads to kind of keep you... Oh, no. Oh, no. Gang Squad is here, baby. Sarnical tries to dive in on the lower HP side, but does get stunned up into the damage output. Sarnical goes into the dominance, but a final auto attack will take it even after the flash. RMC, you said this was a rebuilding for Illini. This looks like the peak for them. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they definitely don't look like that new team coming together. Herald being used into the mid lane to crack that Amity. Caught outside turret range with backups on its way.
Who's catching who, RMC? Who's catching who? With the Guardian himself. That's a Curse and Stab Mummy, but you have no damage. You have no damage. Out goes Inori B, down goes Shin. And Illini make a positive and pretty dang good cross-map play as Casimir's like, I'll take a consolation prize, which is a pretty good prize of a tower.
Okay, and to be fair, Drexel, I actually think Drexel has got a lot in these last series of plays. They also lost a lot and might lose more.
That Q not hitting means 5x5 is a lot slower and doesn't want to chase that far.
I mean, it's a very, very long lane, and Casimir's out of MP mid lane.
Oh my god, no! No! Tower dies galore! This is 18 minutes! RMC, are Illini going to beat the 23.5-minute game that they had in game 1?
No, they're not. they have 5 minutes, and I don't think they can end it unless Drexel engage in another massive team fight and get aced. But, wow, bro, what an amazing showing from Illini. And Drexel, too, the last couple of minutes, actually, I think Drexel played the map really, really well in terms of trying to get turrets, right? They get the mid lane turret, they got the pressure up top. They get bot side as well, and most importantly, they do funnel quite a bit of that gold into Casimir, who is their win condition, level 11. Still 2/3 of the way to really becoming a full champion. But you can see the gold gap has actually shrunk a little bit for Casimir in the mid lane, and he is that most important win con for them. Inori B is doing a lot with the very little resources he's been given. You can see the massive gold gap where Refugo has been picking up kills, and Inori's been scrapping together CS and turrets. So Drexel is doing what they can, how they can. But the problem is, Illini just feels like they've got an answer. They are happy to trade these objectives to accelerate the pace of the game. We'll keep getting kills, and we keep and maintain that gold advantage that we have. And once 20-minute rolls around, with an 8K gold advantage, they can just go ahead and, do Baron and dare Drexel to try and play into them at that Baron buff.
I mean, this is going to be a big buy for Casimir as well, rounding out with that Rabadon's. But I mean, is it really going to be enough? Dragon coming up here means Illini rule the bottom side of the Rift, and they're going to ensure that they're on soul point, but they're also looking for a little bit more. Odyssey can dive this. 100% Odyssey can dive this if you so wish, but you get caught under the tower now, and that's a taunt knockup. That's going to be a little bit of catch, but Shin walked a little bit too far. I don't know if Unbreakable Will is going to be a Mythic NJA. He's going to try and run interference. In goes a little bit of Glacial Prison, but no, not the Prison, the Fissure. And Sarnicle is going to try and catch Refugo. Refugo's running for their life. In goes a knockup. One more attack will do it. Asleep is the Renekton, but you got the kill that you want, and now the rest of the team is going to collapse in on you, as this is a dual threat composition. Multiple members are there. In goes the Curse Stab Mummy, but it doesn't matter, as that's the ace. It's going to be Illini Esports Orange avenging their fallen ADC.
Okay, is there a chance to compete their record? No, they're peeling off. They're not going to risk it. Right call from them. There's objectives on the table to be had. Dragon is on the table. Baron just spawned Orbital, and we were talking about the fact that Baron was that big fight they were looking for. Now, the dive coming through from the line was absolutely key, and a lot of it actually played off-screen. Lithuania and Casimir got delayed in trying to join that fight because Amity spotted them out, and Casimir had to TP into the fight. Amity was able to match TPs, and Lithuania was the one who was just kind of having to walk in at the end. If they were there, maybe Drexel could have turned that, because they did so well initially. They hunted down Refugo, they shut him down, but everybody was chasing Refugo, and nobody was there to take out 5x5, that other big carry, the 5-0-12 Lilia right now, who has been an absolute utter menace across this entire Rift.
Well, the one that just helped take the Dragon is another one that is a disgusting monster on the Rift. The other person that has not died so far in this game, Odyssey, sitting at 7-0-8. True. You might not assume that this is important, but having that type of tank to roll on in with the Rift Maker on top, Odyssey is doing so well on this, what was it, B2, B3 pickup? Odyssey is a menace. Wherever they go, this compositional threat from Illini is coming to such a good head.
And unfortunately, the fact that he's global too is massive. Sarnicle. Yep. I mean, the bot lane's coming up again.
Yeah, you're just a minion. I am so sorry, Sarnicle. You are a minion. And that's why we're seeing the minion try and divert attention. Drexel Dragons are trying to push with 4. And remember, outside of a team fight, they actually have pretty good push here. They're going to go ahead and take the tower. No collapse will really come through. Instead, they're going to recall, which I really, really like. But that's going to call for the Baron. Illini are actually turning to say, hey, we're not going to be able to do anything. But that's going to now draw the rest of Drexel Dragons. Oh my god.
Drexel saw it being done. But can you actually contest this? It's the $1 billion question right now. Ults are up and available for Illini.
This is going to be so dangerous. A 5v4, keep that in mind. If Drexel believe this is a 4v4, they are sorely mistaken.
Okay,
Baron
heading in.
Down to about 5.5. It's going to take a little bit of time. Lithuania hoping for a bandage toss, and you do have that ability. In goes a knockup. In goes the grand entrance, and you are going to get that catch 5x5 though. Watch as the team is going to collapse in. That's 2 dead in the blink of an eye. But Baron is still taken by 5x5. Nothing grants it as the Dragons are clipped and denied. They are going to TP in as Illini Esports Orange are going to hunt for a chance to end this game.
And there's the fight we called and feared. Illini, they had an 8k gold lead earlier, but on that fight, it was even more. They were set up, and as you called out, Drexel, that was a 4v5, sure. At the end of the day, Sarnico had TP and got into the fight, but it was a very disjointed fight. And now, Illini, they won't beat 23 minutes, but they're going to be pretty darn close.
Don't you dare tempt them. Don't you dare tempt them. They are going to look for it. They know no Curse of the Sad Mummy. They can try this. Lithuania is going to dive in, though. That's a huge catch on the back line. Top by 4. And now the Impale. They're bringing them all the way in. Divine Intervention does little to nothing as the roundabout death occurs. Sardical is dead. It's only 23-10. They're hunting for more. Amity is in the wings. However, the HP bars are a little bit lower than they would like. Nexus Tower is going to fall, but they made it out long enough. Lithuania is still alive. By the way, I'm surprised, by the way, as Lithuania was the first one in. But they took about everything in the base except for top lane inhibitor tower and inhibitor. And Illini Esports Orange are going to play it safe.
You can see Drexel wanting to chase so desperately. Fugo, Mythic NJA, 5x5. All of them are so low on mana. If Inori could just get in there, he could probably have cleaned house, but they just don't have the tools they need to actually close the gap any further. We're starting to see the Cloud Dragon, I think, ticked in as well, which helped them escape. It's rare that it's that helpful, but that's just the state of the game. And as you point out, Drexel, that's an open Nexus right now that they have. Illini could always just send Amity in with the TP, Odyssey in with the TP, and heck, Odyssey could TP in and still be at the fight with the hero's entrance in pocket as well. And for Drexel, you're just huddled up in base right now, trying to shove out the lanes best you can. But the final fight will happen in your base with an exposed Nexus, and Illini will have to pick up the litter how they want to approach this game close.
I want to see Refugo just like 1v5 everyone. I don't even think Casimir can do it. Casimir has 2 items. I think might be able to complete a couple components. I don't know if they farmed up enough to fully complete another item, but this is... I mean, this is Refugo. Yeah, Refugo's literally just walking in, by the way. I said that. I wasn't sure if they were going to do it. Yeah, Refugo just, like, walks straight up and is like, yo, what's up, guys? I'm here. I'm ready to play. This is going to be that final fight. Knockback as Odyssey is going to wait, but that's a huge Glacial Fission to draw him into a 4-man knock. It's not a 4-man knock because they die too fast. And triple knockup by the Alistar is going to do next to nothing. Impale slows him down. It's a triple 4-5x5 as they are unkillable at 11-0 and 17. It's an ace as Illini take the series.
Are we sure Illini is Div 2? Like, maybe we need to put them back up in Div 1, because props to them. They looked really, really coordinated. They looked in control the entire game, the entire series. Game 1 as well. But barring the first, what was it, 7-10 minutes of the game? Yeah, Illini just looked absolutely fantastic. And for Drexel, props to them as well. Again, they are a new roster, and it showed a little bit, I think, in their games. You could see the decision making was good, right? The way they were playing the map. They got a lot of turrets for being down 8,000 gold. They got a lot of pressure down, but just the actual team fights itself was just slightly disjointed. People were getting caught out or not quite finding the sort of front to back or the right angles that they want for the team fights. But that's what's going to happen to a new roster, and there's a lot of promise on this team. Sarnico stepping up in game 2 to me was absolutely huge.
It was so much fun to watch, quite honestly. And I enjoyed every single moment of it, honestly. I can see Drexel Dragons as well. You can see what they're kind of trying to build into for themselves. It's just, obviously, it's not there just yet. And we don't want to slam into them too much. That was a game plan. Illini came in with, like, the game plan of, like, we're going to knock this out. We know what you're going to draft game 1, and then we know we can get over some of these humps in game 2. So for Drexel Dragons, I want to ask you, RMC, where do they go from here? Because their game plan from the first series in week 1 was picked apart pretty dang cleanly. How do they go about changing things for week 3 and beyond?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with sort of making sure they've got better bridges in the early game. If Casimir is always going to be on a scaling pick, then you need to make sure that you don't fall behind that much. Like, you can't have both Casimir and Inori be on a scaling pick, for example. Or if that's going to be the case, then you need to, I think, gank Sarnico a bit more. Sarnico had a great game 2 early game, but didn't feel like he got that much support from the jungler, and also wasn't able to get Sarnico out to the fights, to the dragon, to the void grubs when they kind of needed him there in the early game. To highlight this as well, Casimir was level 14 when the game ended. 13, 14. I'm not actually sure he even took 14 at the end of it. Yeah, so the KO needs to be level 16. Kassadin, very similar, wants to be level 16. Vladimir is less about levels and more about items, but same case happened, last game when he was on the Vladimir. If you want that late game, which I think is viable, you need to bridge to it.
Gotta have a couple more bridges than just one and make sure that bridge isn't burning on one end. Right now, that was a fantastic series from Illini Esports. Orange and Dressel Dragons will have to go back to their cave and try and build up a little bit more of their horde. With that, we are done here for the NECC League of Legends side of things. But of course, there's more NECC collegiate action throughout the entirety of the week. Tomorrow, Wednesday, is going to be CS2. That'll be Michigan Maize versus TAMU Maroon. And then on Thursday, it's of course Rocket League. And then on Friday, it's Overwatch 2. Make sure to catch all the action, same time, same place here on the NECC channel. With that, we are done. My name is Orbital. With me has been Random Minion Caster, and of course, our production on the back end, Rare Adam. We thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
It doesn't matter. He's dead. He ain't listening to you anyway.
I'm hungry.
No. Put it away. I can't watch it. Oh, crap. Just reach in. You gotta pull it. Just grab it. Just take it out of his hand. You just can't. What do you mean you can't?
He won't let go.
What do you mean you won't let go? He's dead.
Help me. Get in there. No, just hold on.
Make him let go of it. No, I got you covered. Just go in for a hug. Go and get on in there. It's a bad loss. Yeah, hug him up. Just reach. Hug him up.
He's breathing. Just reach. I think it's on the other side.
Go.
I can't.
Just-
I can't do it.
Help me, Lord. Help me get over this loss.
I can't breathe.
Yeah, I can't breathe. I'm so upset. I can't breathe. Stop. You knock on wood so they go to heaven. It's like a lucky.
Hey, get the stick. Yeah.
Hey, did you get the meat stick?
Yeah, I got it.
Hey, just hold tight for a second. They're moving the casket. Just hold tight.
Yeah, it's no worries. I got it.